As many as 5,000 cats are brought to the Willamette Humane Society each year. Only about 2,000 of those find homes. So glad you're with us on Comcast Newsmakers. We're at the Governor's Mansion in Salem. And joining us is B.J. Andersen, volunteer manager at the Willamette Humane Society. Thanks so much for being with us. Now, you know, the big thing these days is you hear about no-kill shelters, and there's a fallacy sometimes to this. And what is the reality out there when it comes to cats?
The reality out there is that you can't have a no-kill shelter in a community that's not a no-kill community. It's a community-wide problem, and the solution has to come from the entire community. There has to be a commitment in the entire community to find homes, to do the spay-neuter, to be there for every pet in the community.
And the more shelters you have, that doesn't mean the more cats that are getting adopted out.
That's not what we found, you're right. We found in Salem we had a certain statistically average number of homes that we found for cats in a given year. When another shelter opened up in Salem, between the two of us, we adopt out about the same number of cats per year.
So at the beginning I mentioned, I gave some numbers, and we're talking about 60% of cats find homes. The other 40, the reality is you have to have a euthanasia program.
Right.
So what is the way, besides getting the word out to adopt 2 cats for the price, what is a real way of trying to get rid of this problem?
The only way that we can get rid of this problem, reduce this problem, is by spaying and neutering all the cats in the community. I mean, it's just huge, and it's the only answer. So, you know, we're committed to that through our low-cost spay-neuter clinic and making those services accessible to the public, but we've got to have the public commit to getting that done, and to even taking responsibility for those cats that are sort of owned, you know, the ones that you feed in the yard or that live in your area, but you're not sure who they belong to, and kind of everybody in the neighborhood feeds them. We need more people to take a look at those cats and be responsible for getting them spayed and neutered.
Well, can you get into trouble if it is owned by a neighbor and you just didn't know it?
You have to do some due diligence. You'd have to, you know, scan it for a microchip, make sure that it doesn't belong to your neighbors, it doesn't have an ID tag on. You can't just take your neighbor's cat. We have people who have brought neighborhood cats into our spay-neuter clinic with permission for people in their neighborhood who couldn't afford to have the surgery done. We've actually had people come and have that done for them. Now,
when you go around, you have programs to pick up wild cats, non-domestic cats, and you spay and neuter them, then release them. And that runs up to some controversy, doesn't it?
It is controversial. The problem, and this is probably not the right place to lay out all the different aspects of the controversy, but one thing that we find is that most of the feral cats in those populations, feral and unsocial cats, are actually pretty healthy. And if you can spay and neuter those cats, they're going to use the resources in that community, the food, the access to shelter and water. They're going to take up those resources without reproducing. Whereas you would have an unspayed female or unneutered male who would be using those same resources and reproducing.
So you were telling me if you gathered up all the cats in a community that were living in the streets and got rid of them, they would repopulate. They
would repopulate very, very quickly. That's the depressing part of, you know, it's depressing. It's also like the conundrum for us to solve as a community. It just doesn't work to just keep killing cats.
As volunteer manager, I'm sure that anyone interested can go to the website. And also, if you want to spay and neuter, there are prices if you need assistance.
We have always got spay-neuter specials for low-income people.
B.J. Andersen, thank you very much. For more information, folks can go to the website. Thanks for joining us on Comcast Newsmakers. Thank you for being here as well. Make it a great day.